And on today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, there's a lot of Gudaguda.
Gudaguda going.
Gudaguda gone. Not yet, actually. No, plenty of things. So we'll be here to talk to you about all of that, including many servants, actually. Quite a healthy servant list, yes. But that is going to be the basis for our show. Hello, I'm one of your hosts, Omega. With me, as always, is Lucky. And no, we are not quite over Cyberpunk Edgerunners, so...
No, we're not. Oh, guys, you missed it. We spent probably, I think, about 20 minutes just talking about our thoughts on it. But if you are interested in our Cyberpunk Edgerunner thoughts and maybe a few other things, please tune in tomorrow for What's Up, or today, depending on when this goes live.
Yeah.
Where we will spend many hours talking about such things, and Lucky will probably be playing Cyberpunk 2077, even if it's just mindlessly driving on the streets.
Just tune in the radio and just drive.
But with that note, I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka Overlapping Timelines. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EM versions of the game. So anyone not wanting spoilers should make sure to study about T.
Yes, and I will once again reiterate, well, it's not final thoughts time. There are actually a decent amount of story stuff going on in this new Gudaguda event. I know some people are actually a little behind, because they're not catching up on their restoration quests and stuff, which you should, because free QP and free EXPs. So there's that, but you'll have plenty of time in the timecodes to know when we get into more of that stuff, because we got a little interesting show for you. So without any further ado, let's check on Naru's favorite Kohai Mesh.
Senpai, 起きてください.
I didn't want to interrupt my sound issue, but usually I actually do the patron read before that, but I've already done the sound cue for Mash, so...
We'll do it after this.
Yeah. I was speeding along because Wake the Fuck Up Senpai is pretty short and to the point this week. I do actually have pro tips for you, but they're very brief. One, there is a button you can turn on for push notifications about your harvest quests. So
Yeah.
I didn't know if that would be for sure there, so if you want to get your reminders on the dot, you can. I think I've got mine turned on just in case. But yeah, so there's that good one. But there is actually some real tips for y'all. So obviously... you may have seen this already. I know some people have been talking about, on multiple platforms, FGO being a little unstable lately. Like, they've been having crashing or lag issues again. Not sure what that is. Maybe you just need to make space on your phone and download data. We'll see. But there is an alert from FGO out. If you can avoid it, don't update to iOS 16. FGO is not confirmed to be stable on it. I don't believe there are generally a lot of issues with, like, new versions of Android, new versions of iOS with FGO. It's just that they have not fully tested and ironed out any possible problems on the new version of the OS for FGO, so they're just letting you know, hey, we're warning you, we haven't had time to make sure this runs smoothly. If you upgrade to the new version and you have problems, we can't help you yet. So keep that under advisement, everybody, if you are updating soon. And, as I said I would like to shout out our patrons, our lovely patrons who help bring you this episode, some of whom are here right now. And this list of shout-out patrons includes Ada DeHarp, Architect 10, Blexa G, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Jerry Vasquez, Just the Fage, Jonathan Sandoval, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Region Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Sharvor, Sean Pryor, Some Guy Named Bob, 723, and Varian the Crow. If you like what we do and want us to do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early, get audio, get access to polls and other fun stuff. It's a great time. We thank you for your support. Right. Okay, scratch my lip. I remove a bug. And we should go on to Records on the Throne, a regular achievement topic.
Yay.
That time. So for me, I'll start. I did indeedly right away do a 10 spin, and I've thrown some tickets at it. And I have managed to score a Hajime and a full set of CEs. That was all 110 roll. I'm very, very happy about that one. I also got my first Nobukatsu really fast. It was in like 2 FP rolls, counting the free one. And he is now NP5. I've been working on leveling him both and Hajime, so they're not full ascension yet, but we're working on it. We're getting up there. And yeah, that worked out pretty well for me.
That's very nice. For me, I got MP3 Hajime and my MP5 Nobukatsu with event CEs, and thanks to the lotto and me having like several hundred EXPs in my second archive, I was able to protect both their smiles. Also, interesting thing I found that blew my mind a little bit. You know, us usually complaining about how long it takes to get CE drops. I got mine on my second free quest. And I was all like, so this is how it's gonna go.
Yeah, that is pretty good. To be able to possibly MLB the damage CE before the raids is gonna be a little bit of a big deal.
Yeah. So, let's see, how much is it? these clothes. Okay, these clothes aren't expensive. Wait, they are expensive. The fuck?
Drip.
Why is your hat 4K? Stop that.
Listen, nobody knows what the fuck the value of an Eddie is. How much did, to completely tangent here, but I don't care because the show's short. How many Ennies did Rebecca tip David? It was like 5 digits, wasn't it?
It was something like that.
It's crazy.
Well, David was very much like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Rebecca's the best girl. I will fight literally everybody. So...
Small girl, big gun.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to switch slightly over to Not All the World's Evil, but Damn Close, because I have a confession to make, because I lied to you, I lied to myself, and I lied to my wallet, because I spent money on this banner. I don't know why, but I did. I bought 2 80 packs. I guess you noticed before, I didn't get any Himiko. And I'm not entirely sold on her character. Yeah, legendary, you called it, I knew you would. Thank you, architect. But like I'm not necessarily, I don't know, like again, this is one of those things. I'm not entirely sure why I rolled. I just did.
You just felt like rolling.
I just felt like rolling. Like I said, I did not turn. Like I said, it did not go bad. Like I said, MP3 Hajime, event CEs. I got a few other things in there, like that got turned into rare prisms, but unfortunately, I just don't remember that.
And it was rare prisms. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Oh. God damn it, I have to buy it for 4K and it sells for fucking 500. Y'all be very glad I'm fucking rich. I have shot a lot of dudes.
There's a lot of things about RPG economics. We know about this from lots of other things where it's just like, I bought this. You turn around and sell it. Oh, this is worth way less. It's like buying a fucking car.
The moment you leave the lot, that value drops by half. But, delete all this stuff. Get a little bit of my money back. But yeah, no. So I'm not sure. I'm probably not gonna roll. I don't know if I'm gonna roll anymore for Himiko. Like I'm like, I see her character. I'm like, I like it. I like your design, and you're kind of adorkable. But not. It's something I want, but not something I'm sure I need.
Yeah, and there'll be other opportunities. We'll talk about some of that possibly in the news there. But this event is still 2 years in rotation from JP, so it will get a straight up rerun.
Hello. I'm on the fucking... I fell off the streetlight!
Did you fall down far enough to crack the pavement, or were you fine?
Oh, I'm fine. I got the fucking hover goddamn boots, the ones that let you, like, hover for, like, 3 seconds for no goddamn reason. I don't even know how this works.
Yeah, you're double robo-jointed.
No, clearly they put that anti-grav technology in it, even though that still makes no goddamn sense, no matter how long I think about it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that AVs were supposed to be gravity-powered. or electromagnetic gravity? I don't know.
That was very triggering.
When we talked about this, when we get to our questions about Edge Runner and why it's not like a perfect 10 out of 10, there are a couple of setting questions that I'm just kind of like, okay, we animated this up a little bit. But it's still functional. Anyway. Okay, so that was Not All the World's Evils. I feel kind of the same way. Like, I really like Himiko's design. Her artist, same artist as Python. And there's a lot of fun stuff with her research. The Wanted is out now. It is 30 minutes. I was quite shocked by that, but no, there's a lot going on. As you guys may understand, there's a reason why the event opens with that, weird movie adaptation director Nobu decided to do, because there's actually like a lot of that type of mystery about Yamataikoku. We don't even know where the fuck it was. But we can be pretty sure it did happen because, the Chinese were keeping real records at the time, and that's where we've got our sources. But the Kojiki and the Nihon Shoki don't have any source on it, actually. It's weird. You'd think they'd remember. But yeah, so I'm interested in Himiko, but I kept myself to like the tickets in the 10 spin, and I'm like, I'll see how tickets go, and if I feel sad at the end of the event, maybe I'll do some more spins. But I'm trying to save the juice.
Trying to save.
But speaking of saving, let's talk about a little something that gets you a little extra Saint Quartz and ask you, did you finish your master missions? Yes, probably. Because I believe this one is very perfectly framed. So to complete your master missions this week, gonna need you to, number 1, perform 30 FP summons. God, no idea why that one would come up. Defeat 15 each of Heaven, Earth, and Human attribute enemies, and then complete 5 and then 10 quests. So basically, do the event. Since there was some pre-event time, you might have gotten ahead of this a little bit, and depending on how things are, you might not, but Heaven, Earth, and Human should all be in the story quests and free quests of the current Gudaguda event, so you should easily be able to get through all of them, and if not, you can catch up a couple of others. I think human is the least likely one. I don't remember. Do skeletons in Fuyuki count as human? If not, I'm pretty sure Shadow Emiya is in there, and he counts. Right? I'm not talking shit, chat, right? Emiya's gotta be man attribute. Because he's not Earth and he's not Heaven. Because he's real. He's a real boy. I think it's been a while. We might want to refresh people, but I think we've discussed the attribute system before. Heaven is for servants with a divine origin. Earth is for people with folkloric origins. Human is actual human history, and then star is just weird. Also space. But, like, it's not always space. Because I think, like, Jean and Da Vinci are, like, star attribute servants. But yeah, so you should be able to... Yes, Emiya's man. So you should just be able to beat up Shadow Emiya and Fuyuki if you miss the human attributes, and then it's just... roll. They really want you to roll Nobukatsu.
Well, Nobukatsu is quite useful in this event. I didn't add the pro tips, but I'll add it here. If you guys are struggling a little bit up with gathering building materials, do remember that MASH and Nobukatsu have all of them, and because they are 3 and 0 respectively, very cheap just to throw in your back line and throw whatever CEs you want on them.
Oh, skeletons are also man. Mm-hmm. Also, I do believe you clarified this earlier, unless it was double check. I think MASH is only clay.
Is it? I could have swore she was all.
I'll double check. They may have fixed it. Because it's... I remember reading her listed as only one of them. I don't remember which one it was when I made the show notes. You can literally go back and check the episode.
I'm gonna look right meow.
But that would be weird if she wasn't, because Shielder is a very weird extra class. I can't look at it because I'm beating up bugs right now. Damage CE plus Space Ishtar. Yeah, the wiki says clay.
Hang on a second here. Could I have been dumb? Lucky could have been dumb. Hi. Formation. Party setup. No, yeah, she's just clay now. Weird.
Yeah.
I could have swore that I literally would have swore like 2 days ago she gave me everything.
No, I don't think there's a CE that affects item drops. Sometimes the graphics do get confusing with their rotation. Maybe you mistook, like, event currency for other drops.
Maybe.
Because I feel
quite foolish.
I will say, like, presentation-wise, the fact that we have, like, building materials and then regular currency materials, that can get a little confusing with, like, equipping CEs and servant drop bonuses and stuff, because there's a lot of shit. I have to, like, double-check myself. I'm like, wait, okay. What's the drop on this quest? Okay, it's a currency and a building material. Cool.
Hang on, I'm tapping stuff here.
Keys. But yes, that is our Master Missions report. Hopefully you should have easily cleared these already, and if not, you can wrap it up. As I said, somebody in chat told me that skeletons are in fact man, so fuck them up. Free skeletons. Ooh, speaking of which, Skelegrams!
Yeah.
I'm getting fucking Halloween-themed ads from Reese's Peanut Butter Cups with my YouTube videos now, so we can be spooky, I guess.
I guess. It's September.
They're also trying to get me to eat peanut butter cups, so I mean, it's okay.
I mean, I do love me a peanut butter cup.
Yeah, that's right. They're making a Hocus Pocus sequel. I'm a little bamboozled. Or technically, I guess they've already made it, because they're going to drop it. Anyway, we'll talk about that at a different time. We only have a couple bits of news for you today, and then we'll get onto mailbag, and God knows what immense faffery will occur. But that's what you guys signed up for. So, the big news item, because obviously we knew the exact dates for Gudaguda Yamatai for us already, you know, so there's no need to get on that. Nothing is different about that. Other than that, I did call it and was right. Oni Heart Lanterns are in the currency shop. I don't know if they replaced something or not, but yeah, they're in there. They added a new mat, which they've been doing pretty regularly, so keep that an eye out if you're trying to work on some servants. Though, you know, Heian Kyo gets closer every day, basically. So that did happen, but there's no real news. We don't have anything else going on. We've got a brand new event dropping. Raids are soon. When this episode goes live for public, raids will be tonight. They are tomorrow night if you are listening to this early as a patron. And they've already happened if you're listening to this sometime in the nondescript future. So I hope you got your raid reps in.
Past, present, and future. But
we did get an actual drop, and there was a little mini stream. I did not watch it because it was very early in the morning, but there was a real CM and some stuff on Gudaguda Shin Yamataikoku.
Oh.
So from the 14th until the 5th of October, we're doing the full 3 weeks again. We've got a new Gudaguda event. It's going to be a point ladder event, and it involves brewing tea. So I have looked this up a little bit, and apparently what you do is you gather tea materials. I think they're like red, green, and blue tea. And I talked about this off mic. The little icons look a lot like the powdered medicine from Resident Evil.
Herb.
Yeah. And you brew those in different amounts to make certain kinds of tea. The tea brewing will give you points, which advance the points ladder, and also can give you mats randomly. Why do they produce mats? I don't know. Don't ask questions. You clear the story to get our new ruler welfare, Io, who is obviously meant to be Himiko, but small. And she's not actually that much smaller. She is also some kind of primeval superwoman, but she's shorter because if you listen to my wanted, you'll recall that at the end of Himiko's legend, she was appointed ruler of Yamatai after Himiko when she was only 13. I don't know about any further story details for now, though. But we do have a summon banner. We have brand new limited SSR. I believe it's limited. Usually Gudaguda banners are limited, but I just realized that I didn't write it down. But SSR Berserker Senno Rikyu. Somebody pick up Lucky's phone.
Yeah, I called it.
I've learned to just, whenever Lucky just belts out, yes, it is limited. Whenever Lucky just belts out a name of a historical Japanese figure on a banner, I'm like, he's probably right.
I am.
But, good.
I think I'm 75% accurate right now.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. Now, if you want us to pick Western characters, that's a lot more of a coin flip.
No,
I could have sworn Napoleon was going to be Admiral Nelson, but no, they did it the other way around. I think that was deliberate, though. I think they bamboozled us by making him swole and tall and not short, and also not making him just Nobu but French, even though that would have worked perfectly. FGO, but also we have a new Saber, SR Saber, Keisuke Yamamura. Is a guy? Which is hilarious because he's in the event we're doing right now. So you've got a 2-year clock on that one.
Yep.
Also, as for the 3-star, it is not Izo actually this time. Mori Nageyoshi is back on Raid Up, if you've missed him. And yes, there is another cute Medusa CE.
All as it should be in this world.
Yes, we are blessed once again. Our timeline is blessed. Well, my timeline is blessed because Cyberpunk keeps trending, and every time I click on it, I get new Rebecca fan art to retweet. But anyway, given that there, as usual, are extra characters in Gudaguda, some of whom you fight, there are Concernicus about, or hopes. It's either a concern or a hopium, depending on how your wallet feels, about a second banner. And obviously, because the event is going to run for 3 weeks, that's a decent bet. But
It'd be good. I think they're doing pretty good that they put Keisuke on there, because, like I say, he just now shows up in this event, so, that's one off the list, but I am a little bit leery that they're just going to keep adding more. I'm just like...
Yeah, I think there's already 2 or 3 more, completely new designs in the story.
Yeah.
And obviously, depending on the type of supporting character, they don't need to be playable, but, sometimes these guys do sprite work. But Keisuke is good to get out of the list. He's actually a very interesting servant. We'll talk about that later. So keep your eye out for a second banner. Additionally, this weekend, there is a stream and a Chaldean radio scheduled for some Kyomef-related announcements and also possibly some TGS-related announcements, because Tokyo Game Show is, I believe, still currently ongoing. Stuff is happening. Many trailers. Again, we have about a bajillion things to talk about on What's Up, because there have been video game announcements out the wazoo, some of which you may find actually Fate-related. Hey, do you like Sakamoto Ryoba? We might have a thing for you. The stream's in about 5 hours? Okay. I expect this to be probably some more of the Gudaguda types on a banner, probably a quartz drop. It's not they literally just started a brand new story event. It's not going to be a big deal. But because Kyomaf is back, this means we've got a returning banner possibility to bring you extra, Okita, Nobu, Tijikata, Himiko maybe, because it's been a year since her rerun, so she hasn't had a standalone banner in a while. It would make very much sense for them to run a Himiko banner right about now. So keep your eyes peeled for that as of the time of recording this, but we don't know the details yet, and it might not start right away. So keep that in mind. But yeah, that's it for all my news.
Well, let me push pause on this then real quick. Then let us, let me stretch and crack knucks here. Let us switch over to... Actually, let me hit refresh on this. Let's switch over to this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week, we have 13 submissions. I do think maybe putting it in the middle of the week gave better results than the beginning of the week.
I believe you timed this pretty good to be was this I think this was the day the event started?
I believe so.
Yeah, I might have drawn people in.
So, without further ado, let us begin. This first one comes from a master taking Himiko on a moonlight walk, sharing the joys and tribulations of life. They say, "Hey guys, glad to make it back to the mailbag. Work's been kicking my butt, and I'm happy to be back with my homies." You can't see it, but Lucky just flashed like 30 gang signs. With a backlog of questions to go through, here's my most current one for you guys. Which has been your favorite Gudaguda tune so far? Mine has been Mount Nobu's theme. It's so epic. Sending you good vibes. Wah 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 wah. And as always, Nobu Nobu. P.S. Hope you feel better soon, Lucky. Getting old and injured sucks. Yeah, no, I actually probably do have to just attribute this one to age, because it was a very, very dumb injury. Because I mentioned it in the description to the mailbag that I injured my heel. I don't think I necessarily... I think I spoke about how it got injured maybe Monday? But I'm not, again, that doesn't our Monday streams don't hit our entire audience. Not like in the way that Let's Talk does.
No, Let's Talk is our biggest result. Some of that I think is algorithmic. Again, I encourage you to go watch The Wanted. But that's doing about half as well as last week's Let's Talk right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, excuse me. But the basically Sunday night in the wee hours of the morning, we had a drunk driver come down my street, hit my neighbor's car, hit my roommate and friend's work van, then drove up on the curb, went through someone's fence, hit a tree, and then tried to back out very, very much, throwing debris everywhere, and, took off because they were very drunk. In the process, there was a lot of debris and stuff everywhere, and we had to move a couple vehicles. And in the process of pushing, I did a little bitty strain to my right Achilles tendon. It didn't do a full snap. I'm thankful for that, because that literally probably would have put me in the hospital. But
right, yeah, if you snap a tendon.
But it did strain it a bit, so I've been walking around with a limp for the past 5 days. So take care of your body. It's the only one you have.
Make sure to stretch.
But onto your actual question here. Favorite Gudaguda tune? I don't actually know, unfortunately. Track names is gonna. I will say that I do like the CM theme for this Gudaguda. I think that's very nice. But unfortunately, that's usually not put in the.
No, sadly, not usually in game. Many people will be sad about this with some upcoming CMs, actually, because the music for Imaginary Scramble and Hey on Kill are very popular.
Oh yes.
I think I would in this case I would agree with the commenter, the comment leaver, because Mao Nobu's theme, which you can hear in her NP, assuming that's the one they mean. Because again, as like I said, we're not really trading track names here. That one's pretty good, yeah. I personally always enjoy when the game... I mean, I enjoy leitmotifs, period, even if it's just again, guess what, this is gonna come back on What's Up with Edgerunners, but when you can associate a song or a sound with characters, that works out really well. So I love when FGO does NP-specific themes. The fact that, Lord Camelot has its own theme is, so important in the context of FGO that you remember those beats a lot better with the extra sound.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying the piano theme from this one. I do believe people have said this event's got some good stuff. I mean, I'm not going to be sad about lacking Prisma themes, but that's just because collab music kicks our ass. Fucking record industry gremlins. Despite the fact that I don't know why it's blowing the fuck up, but last week's Final Fantasy 14 stream is doing phenomenal for us. Nearly 400 views for a stream, which is crazy.
Wow.
Though, Lucky, you may or may not be happy to know that you streaming all of Mega Man X is currently doing better than last week's What's Up.
Oh!
About 120 views.
That's lovely.
But we have a weird sharing copyright claim on the Final Fantasy video because it identified a snippet of Final Fantasy 14 music as a cover of Final Fantasy 14 music. And I'm just
Excuse them.
Okay, fine, whatever. So long as you don't copyright block my video, that's fine. I'm not gonna be weirded about this, but that's
who's copywriting a cover of a fucking.
Well, so it recognizes the melody of "Torn from the Heavens" from something I did. I don't know what. It's got the timestamp there. Lucky can also see that because he can access the channel. But it's it's not a big deal. I'm just confused. What? Because it is, I'm sure it is the melody of Torn from the Heavens, because that song is for Final Fantasy XIV. I don't recognize it off the top of my head, but, I know that name. This is just a small slice of the weird shit we have to deal with sometimes, and it's almost always related to music specifically. I have had some issues in the past with certain games doing audio or I should say visual or audio-visual copyrights on like cutscenes, but most game developers are not really about that these days. Or when I have I've been like, hey, this is not legit. They have rescinded. I think I've talked before about how I have some like old ass like Okami HD streams where Capcom was like, hold on, we're not sure about this, and I was like, yo, this is a live stream I did, and they were like, yes, eat the record industry.
Not the records, the record industry. Vinyl's not
No,
good for
you
your
should
stomach.
not eat vinyl. I think that would be very sharp,
Yes.
very pointy. It's very frangible. I've watched some excellent slow-mo guys videos of them spitting vinyl records around so hard and fast they explode. They disintegrate into shrapnel.
That's slightly terrifying.
It is terrifying, actually. I think the records violently tear themselves apart so bad they like chipped the plywood stand they were on and like left black streaks that are never coming out of the cinder block they used to like safely contain it. Serious business. Don't eat vinyl records. It's bad for you in a lot of ways. Anyway, we should do the next question.
Next question. This next one comes from a Master Gone Fishing. They say, hey, Lucky and Mega, hope you guys are doing well. I'm spending this week in Cape Cod with family, so take some good fishing vibes. Bloop, 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 bloop. Even though me and my dad aren't able to catch a tuna when we out. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys later. Like, that's good. Have fun on your fishing trip. Like, I've only been fishing a couple times personally, and I've never been good at it. I haven't caught anything. I've seen other people catch fish and then see them get away. And I always hear about my friends going fishing treads, but fishing... Honestly, I probably appreciate fishing now, but not when I was younger. I was all like, man, I could be doing so much more. Nowadays, I can be like, man, I could be doing so much more and fishing. You can do a lot on your phones nowadays.
Yeah. I think I've always preferred virtual fishing. I think I've talked about this. My dad used to own a boat, and it was a pretty regular weekend occurrence to go out in the boat in the bay, Biscayne Bay, and, bum around, occasionally go out to the ocean. And we would run out some lines. I think once we trawled for some stuff with some chum, but I don't think anybody liked that experience. Because chum is gross and smelly, y'all. We didn't really catch a lot, but it was, just part of the sunny, salty boating experience.
Yeah, I know. That's what I've realized nowadays. It's not about catching fish. It's about putting out poles, having a drink or two, hanging out with your friends. And maybe if you're lucky, you'll get a fish. I will say, naturally caught fish is like the only way I can eat fish. I can't stand store fish. I literally can't. But I do believe that is enough on that. So we shall move swiftly on. And this next one comes from an image you can hear. And they say, hello, Lucky and Mega, good health to you, or as they say in Greek, kalos orisate. I don't know. Last weekend was very busy for me, for I was voluntarily assisting with my community Greek festival. Speaking of festival, have any of you ever gone to any cultural festivals? And if so, how was your experience? P.S. Not all the world's evil, but a little close. I had 70 Saint Quartz for the event banner, and on my first 11 roll summon, I was able to get the ancient armpit queen Himiko herself. I can thank Omega's Wanda video as the catalyst. No Saito, unfortunately, but I'm working on it. How is this evil?
I think it's that they did not have a lot of Saint Quartz and they wanted a Saito and they don't have one. It happens sometimes.
It happens, but also...
How dare.
But speaking of culture and festivals, technically, no. I've always wanted to go to like some Scotland games and stuff. I always found those fascinating. And I do know there are some Asian cultural festivals around here. Like I know I've seen ads for Vietnamese, Korean ones. I'm pretty sure there's some Japanese ones around here somewhere. But I have not had an opportunity. Usually they're not close to me. Like I said, I gave up driving to save fucking stress and money.
Yeah.
Which limits my ability... Oh, look, a ladder. Which limits my ability to just get up and go. Usually I have to I can't climb this ladder. How dare you? Which limits my ability to get out of the place. The closest thing I can come to a culture event is I used to go to fucking pirate events where everyone dresses like a pirate, drinks a lot of alcohol, and uses that excuse to bang everybody.
That's a decent one. I was gonna say that, like, you ever been to a county fair in your life? I have a couple of times. County fair, circus, funnel cake. I will say, I once did actually go to a Japanese drum festival. It was
sick.
a hell of a drive. I don't remember what... We went to the east coast of Florida. I don't remember the name of the gardens anymore. I think I've still got like a brochure or something in a cabinet somewhere because I don't throw anything away. I think I've talked about this. I have my fucking, pamphlets and museum guides from that one time I visited the British Museum like 10 years ago. No, not even 10 years ago, like 20 years ago, almost.
Oof.
It's a long fucking time. Great museum. Don't let anybody shit talk it. It's a wonderful museum. And it was free. But, we went to the drum festival, so there was, traditional Japanese drum performances and a couple of other stuff. Did some dancing. And it was nice.
Nice.
And it was in a little, Japanese garden, so lovely cultural appropriate plants. It was not in, the middle of spring and cherry blossom season, unfortunately. I think it was fall. Not that fucking matters in Florida. As it is 74 degrees outside, and that is cool right now. My window is open.
Like, ever since I learned of the Shinto temple we have here in Washington, I've been really wanting to visit it, but I feel like that's gonna... It's not close. I think it's like a couple hours away, so I'm just like, no, this is a fucking planned trip.
Yeah, that's probably a couple hours both ways. That's probably a day trip.
Yeah, but, yeah. Let us move on. Thank you very much. This next one comes from the Arbiter of Holidays to Come. They say, hey guys, just popping in to say I hope Lucky heals up well. They spelled heal as in foot heal, because this person is a goblin.
A literal sewer gremlin. And there may or may not be a time code about this. We'll see. Sometimes Robin doesn't feel like fucking around with the time codes.
Moving on, this next one comes from the Tyrant King still being stalked by Himiko in NA after getting MP3 and 2 GSSRs in JP.
3 and 2 GSSRs? Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's a little awkward.
Let's see here. Question. Hey, unlimited budget Lucky and Heaven's funding Omega, with Genshin now being made into a long-running anime project done by UFO Table. Is it long-running? I thought they just announced it.
I believe in the announcement they said that it would be a longer-term project. I don't know what the fuck that means these days, though. That could be just 2 course 20 episodes, or who knows. Maybe they're going to do 3 movies over 5 years.
Which gacha games would you want to be animated, and with what studio? Anyways, that's it for me. Sending you good vibes your way. Wah, 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 wah. And hope you have a nice weekend.
Honestly, I think most of the gacha games that we have played or are playing have had anime adaptations.
Oh no, a lot of them usually do. New ones do take a while, but like Grand Blue has had one, Girls Frontline has had them, Azure Lane has had multiple.
Yep. FGO has had technically multiple at this point. So they've had several movie adaptations and a TV season.
And there's a lot of gacha games that, have their own little anime animations, like Taimanin has things. Trinity 7 has things. There is a...
I know that people, speaking of the Genshin adaptation, I know that people in Japan are slightly nettled because I think UFO Table was supposed to make a second Token Rambu movie, and they haven't yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. Token Rambu does have an anime. That's right.
Indeed, it does.
Most successful, Madoka Magica has their anime. I think
the anime was first, obviously,
yeah.
But it
first.
Still, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, no. The side story.
That's true. Probably not in that order then.
Yeah, because Madoka Magica, then I think the gacha game, and then the side story came out. I mean, the side story, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
So the original property was anime first, but the story context was they did that later. Yeah, that does happen a lot.
And even if they don't do full-on anime adaptations, like there are still like smaller things. Like Blue Archive just recently did a small episode celebrating their summer. I definitely wouldn't mind if Blue Archive did like a major anime adaptation, like the Eden Trinity chapter. Watching the climax of that still makes me cry. It's so goddamn good. But does Archives?
Not yet, but I think they are. I'm pretty sure they at some point announced they were working on a project. I would be shocked if they didn't get one.
Yeah.
They also have they are getting they're scheduled to run already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and they have a PV for it? Okay, so that's in the works. Makes sense.
So, like, when you think about it, a lot of the popular gacha games usually have some sort of anime or, animation project in the works.
And that's not assuming that they aren't already developed from, because most of the ones I'm thinking of that don't are, those are video game properties already. Like, Fire Emblem Heroes, for instance. They don't really need an anime, though they probably could, because it's based on Fire Emblem, of which there are a lot.
Toothpaste.
There's also, obviously the Nier gacha game isn't directly related with either of the previous Niers, I think. Pretty sure.
But
it's hard
still
to tell with
based
Yoko Taro. but it's still branded Nier.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people would watch a Three Houses anime because that means they wouldn't have to fuck around in the monastery. Which, by the way, nobody gave a shit about when the game came out. It's only now that there's a new game on the horizon that people are like, yeah, I guess I probably would have replayed Three Houses more if there was less monastery.
Love the monastery, though. Fuck you guys.
I mean, I love the monastery parts, but I understand the slog. But
No, people just want to get to their battle so they can fucking...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to give shit to people.
I mean, I'm kind of giving shit to people, too. I feel like people are coming out of the woodwork to bad talk Three Houses now that the new Fire Emblem is announced, and they're like, oh, it's so colorful, and look, it's homaging older games. And I'm like, okay, but the character designs for the main character are still weird, and they were weird when they were leaked, when you all complained about this. And also, I don't know, guys, I think Three Houses just saved your fucking franchise.
It probably did. I'm okay with the new character design because I realized who the artist was after way too long a loading screen for me.
Yes.
It's literally Seishun Ogon's fucking...
It's Mika
yeah.
Picasso?
Picasso. Yeah, and all her big designs have to have weird hair. It's literal. It's fucking literal.
No, it's fine. It's... and honestly, as a concept art, they look way better. The models are weird, but I think part of that might just be because of the Switch is weird. I watched a interesting YouTube video the other day talking about de-exclusive games, and apparently for the NVIDIA Shield in China only, because the Wii was never officially released there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo licensed NVIDIA some GameCube and Wii games, like the GameCube version of Twilight Princess, Super Mario Galaxy, etc., on the NVIDIA Shield, because NVIDIA makes the chips that go in the Nintendo Switch. So there were some interesting business arrangements. So some of that might just be the fact that the Switch is in kind of a weird place, like graphically, might be making the models look a little goofus.
The goofus.
Who knows? If you want to hear us yell about Nintendo more, there's a long list. The Nintendo Direct was quite long, considering. So we'll probably yell about that more on What's Up as well.
It was a good day for everybody.
Unless you hate farming. Like, if a farm killed your parents, then you're fucked.
A lot of people do seem to hate farming.
I don't actually know if people hate farming so much. It's just they aren't enthused by farming. And boy, howdy, were there a lot of farming games. It's okay, though. I mean, personally, if you're going to a TGS-themed Nintendo Direct and you don't like Japanese-ass games, which I think these days is more and more, including what I've heard some people call comfy games, you're going to have a bad time.
Slow life.
And yes, I have, by the way, heard the term comfy games thrown around for games, usually referring to stuff like Stardew, I think, is a big originator, but Animal Crossing. I even heard Stray referred that way, because Stray has some tension, but parts of it are very low tension. Like, you just do a lot of cute cat stuff most of the gameplay, and then it's like, panic. Run away. I mean, they should respect them, because farming games are like, along with city builders, are like, incredibly fucking old. What console was the first Harvest Moon on?
Super Nintendo, I believe.
Yeah. Pedigree, baby. We're going way back.
And those kind of games, like, not necessarily farming and whatnot, but, like, resource management and stuff have gone all the way back to Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Like, Nobunaga's Ambition was way back then, too.
Yeah.
That was more like, tactical based and whatnot, but it was still back there.
Mm-hmm. Similarly, like I said, City Sims, there was a version of SimCity on the SNES as well. Like, I know that's not the same as farm management, but it can be. It can just scratch slightly different itches. And is there really a difference between, where you have to put your potatoes and where you have to put your power plant? The potato is the power plant of the farm. Anyway.
Let us... So, back onto the original question, though. Like I said, I would like probably a Blue Archive full animation project. Also, I would say Destiny Child. The game's very horny on main, but they do have storytelling chops. You only have
before you've enjoyed some of the individual storytelling.
Yeah, and Shift Up should not like necessary. Like I said, they finally, after literally a year of silence, finally did give more moves on Project Eve, aka Stellar Blade now, and it looks like it's going to be a Yoko Taro adventure in many, many ways.
Yeah, I watched some people react to that and basically be like, "Yo, dog, this is just Korean Nier, and yes. I'm here for it."
And actually, they're actually coming out with their new game, Nikki Goddess of Victory, should be coming out here pretty soon. I think pre-reg is still going on. So if you're interested in more shipped up games, please check that out.
I mean, if we're debating hypotheticals like that, and we can spread the love around, I would love to see what an anime of Last Origin would be like.
I was going to mention that, but I'm like, no, we need to slap some fucking some rated M for mature for that, because like we still don't have an English version of it, but I've read some translations and they are not shy. They are literally not shy.
No, the art style's not shy, so
the art style's not shy, but they are literally talking.
Hey, listen, hey, we're gonna cycle back to Edge Runner again. They had a not safe for work trailer, and the series was very not safe for work. That Netflix money really let Trigger cut loose in a way that I don't think they usually can, because they have to go on Japanese TV.
But Last Origin, I think, also has a decent story, but like I said, I have only seen bits of it through translation, so it's a little weird. But their designs are very. If they censored the Last Origin designs, I feel like I would lose something inside. You know, it's just one of those things.
I mean, it's definitely the aesthetic.
I should check in with Destiny Child again. I haven't played it in a little while. But let's see here. Punishing Gray Raven. Actually, isn't Twisted Wonderland getting an anime adaptation too?
I could see that.
I could have swore it was, because I knew it came over here. Yeah, Tyranno says, Twisted Wonderland is getting one, so it's mostly VN, so it wouldn't be hard. Makes sense. Listen, VN, there's a lot of VNs that got adapted into anime. Like, that was literally the aughts.
And also, the VN style works very well for gacha games. I know lots of Genshin babus really like to shit on literally everybody else for laying the groundwork without which they wouldn't exist. But, considering phones, and I genuinely want to ask how many people who are fucking crazy about Genshin actually play it on their goddamn phone. A lot of these gacha games really are phone first. You do? How does that... Do you have fun that way? No sarcasm, no cap, genuine question. Is it enjoyable? Because I couldn't imagine playing that game on my phone with the way it's, structured and stuff. But I am also very weird about where I play stuff. I could access a shitload of popular benchmark. Yeah, but it burns up battery in your phone. Yeah, it makes sense.
Nah, that was the problem I had when I'm on my phone. I could play it, but my phone just heated up so fucking fast.
Yeah, no, I understand. That makes sense. It's funny to see it used as a benchmark, but yeah, that still is you got a lot of stuff that you can work on there. But if you want to make a game that really is meant to be accessible on a lot of phones without accidentally blowing somebody up, you tend to get simplistic games. A lot of early mobile games from big franchises didn't even have story; they were just gameplay. So the VN style of static sprites and text boxes works very well, and even FGO has added way more animation to its VN segments. Over time, they've realized they can stretch their engine farther, but there's something to be said for a lot of simplicity, you know. But anyway.
Anywho, trying to think. Like I said, most gacha games that I've played usually have some sort of animation or have some animations in the work.
Yeah, I'm gonna say there's probably a little bit of selection bias there in that if you have heard of a gacha game to try it, which probably means that you either saw it recommended on a storefront or the internet or somebody in our Discord was hey, there's a new gacha game coming out. That probably means it has enough of a marketing buy and enough of an appeal that it will stay relevant and can actually, make money and get an adaptation. Never mind that, a lot of these games are, going so far as to have, extra spin-offs and shit. I think Girls Frontline did announce that their sequel, that's basically Girls Frontline but XCOM, is in fact getting a global release. I will be down to climb with that. Spin-offs. Cool.
Very nice. So, let us keep moving on. The next one comes from Moon is sleep deprived. Moon. Oh no. They say, no question for once, just hope you have a great day as always. Same to you, Moon. Please get some sleep.
Rest. Moving
on, this next one comes from Agent 418, and they're good watering scheduled. Can't see it, but I panned the camera.
You edited this, but you goofed your tenses.
But they say, hello, Rancheros, Lucky, and Omega. I had a really good start to the event by getting good rolls and a CE drive all on day one. So I was wondering, what events did you have a great start to? P.S. Have a good weekend. P.S.S. Hope you get better, Lucky. You hear that, Hill? Down there supporting my weight? Get better. They demand it. Do it. No more limping around.
I mean, there's some placebo effect in that. trying to think of it. I mean, like, honestly, I think I got this event started out pretty good. Like, I didn't go ham on quartz, but I got a full run of CEs in a 10 spin, and I did get Saito, which is good because I did not have an event mode of Saber before then. I still do not have an Okita. So like that's a pretty decent start. I haven't gotten a CE drop yet, but I haven't been going like super ham on the farming. So that's understandable. I'm trying to think. What was it? Was it the Lotto event that I think I did get a damage CE like right away? The one we just had? I think that was it. Yeah, no, because I got no CE drops through all of Summer 5 for either side. That sucked. I know, because I just stitched all the CEs together finally. So yeah, Dance in the Shadows went pretty well. We got off to a good start with getting a drop like right the fuck away.
You know, I think Skahawk was probably one of my better ones too. Like I said, it's when I started using FGA, and there was a lot of CE drops just by dint of by just how much things. So yeah, I was able to get a lot done. And I want to say, like, so far this event has been treating me pretty good too. Like I said, I did my second free quest, and I was able to get a CE drop, which saves me a lot of time. But other than that, I think that's that. So let's keep moving on. This next one comes from Too Tired to Try to Be Clever. They say, while Mile is going through friend points for servant coins and CE bombs, I came to a revelation. Foes are kind of frustrating. Ideally, I like to have all my servants fully foed, but that is difficult once we only get a full set from events and once a month from the Mama Prism shop. Like he panned the camera again. I'm honestly wondering why they made class-specific foes. Would have been so bad and more easy to easily add more attack and health for any servant instead of praying for one for the class you need. This was less a question and more me wanting to yell into the void. If the phone system doesn't bother you, maybe there's something you'd like to lubricate you're frustrated with. Anything. It doesn't have to be FGO related. Enjoy the Gudaguda and hope your heal gets better, Lucky. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure we yell into the void on a regular basis. I mean, I guess I can understand the frustration with foes. I think the Beast Paws, the Foe Prince, is more of a pain in the ass.
No, like, the Faux Paws are literally like a one-to-one with the Embers, though. So if you have an issue with, like, the foes, you probably have a small issue with the Embers. The only difference between them is that there are ways to farm Embers that you need/want, and foes are literally left to the randomness of the friend point gotcha.
Yeah.
But
that is probably something we could improve. I mean, honestly, I don't think that foes... Yeah, somebody had dug up a very funny screen cap. Honestly, I don't think that, like, this person expresses they feel frustrated because they want to, like, round out foes on everybody. That is not usually everybody's sentiment, because foeing does also take QP. Like, I usually reserve silver foes for just servants I am actually using and have, like, properly max leveled and all that stuff. The gold foes are obviously their own thing. That is a process we work on for, like, in-demand servants. But, yeah, if you really wanted to foe everybody, the game is definitely not optimized for that. But also, it's, what is the initial foe cap? Is it 1k or 2k?
1k.
1k. Yeah, that is not actually that meaningful of a stat spread. Like, most of your units of the same class and rarity will be within that striking distance anyway. It's helpful to, like, get a better edge and stuff, but honestly, grailing is way more worthwhile if you just want to pump stats. You can get crazy numbers out of some servants by doing their stat curve, but grailed. God forbid you do the 120 grail, you know? But I do like foes as a way to round out servants I am using, but they are... I feel like they've almost been eclipsed by other systems the game does. I can understand, like I said, if you are the kind of person who feels they want to foe every servant, that probably is, like you said, Lucky, a little bit like trying to fully ember, like, max ascension every servant. And depending on how much time you have in FGO, that can be a pain in the butt. Obviously, that's why some people encourage going ham on lottos and banking a lot of EXPs so you can level right away when you want to.
Bank.
And that's not something you can easily do with foes. I know people used to complain about gold foes because they were distributed, only during events. I feel like people don't mention that a lot lately, so I don't know if they just got over it in comparison to other things the game does, like servant coins. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a thought. I think it's not a thought that everybody's going to have. And they probably could do more, but I wonder if they need to, because there's a lot of subsystems in FGO.
So, with those thoughts, let us move on. This next one comes from Nobu, which translates hype for new Buster Waifu. Question, since it's a good time again, I'm me. Also hope the ankle gets better and sending positive vibes. I'm gonna be real, my favorite Nobu enemy is Nobu Classic. Just pull up that section of Nobu.
Yeah,
just put
it's a
it there.
good one.
No, so yeah, Nobu Classic is pretty good for me.
I mean, I think the thing that like bamboozled me the most was either Nobu tanks or Nobu UFOs. I feel like we yelled about the UFOs in this event too.
Probably. But if we don't have anything necessarily else to add on that, we can keep moving on. And with that, we move on to our next one. This next one comes from Burnt Out from the Gotcha player, is now back from the dead. They say, what's up with Castoria's sword? Is she a sword mage? Swordmancer? Create swords and throw them? Yes. I actually don't fucking know.
I mean, we don't need to say anything. It's long been established since the original. Sword is an element of magic. Duh. Haven't you ever played Mega Man Battle Network? I'm not kidding, by the way. Later games are actually use sword as a quote-unquote element type. Sometimes for rock, paper, scissors.
It's weird. But that's how it be. So, with that complete thought, we are going to move on. This next one comes from Master that got all Sakura faces to level 100. Yes! I'm 2 weeks late to post this. And they say, been playing FGO for 5 years and I find myself playing the game differently besides spending quartz. Like, for me, in events, I spend silver apples. In story, I spend bronze apples and gold apples only for lotto events. Has there been any game choice do you think there has been any game choice you think you try forcing the most, whether it was fighting enemies or when you should play the game overall? P.S. Whiskey Tango Fat Trots, where did all my void does go? I had 400 of the stuff and now it's all gone. I'm also out of QP after opening 148 lotto boxes. You probably lost all of it if you probably, level 2 servant skills from 6 to 10.
Alternatively, you put a lot of servants to level 100. That is also very costly. Because Palingenesis also costs QP.
True. Should I actually... Where am I at my Sakura faces? I think they're all 10, 10, 10 now, but I still need to get them to level 100.
I'm trying to think. Were there any kind of like... I mean, I feel like there's been times when I've forced myself to play, and...
I think I've changed myself a bit. Like, I'm kind of the opposite. It used to be that I was constantly forcing myself to play, but lately I've just been all like, if it dies, my login streak dies, it dies. Like, I've broken it so many times, there's no point for me getting upset about it anymore.
Yeah. Like, technically, I feel the same way. Like, I was broken out of that specific habit a long time ago, thanks to the power of nature. But,
thanks,
like,
hurricanes.
I feel like I think I was doing my tracking, and I'm like, oh, I got FP this time. Did I miss a day? Who cares? I was busy this week.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing shit, whatever. It's the same with like, oh, I didn't get a CE drop. That's a pain, but I don't want to waste my time just farming for nothing to get CE drops or whatever. It's we play how we play. A lot of people are like, go ham at least once on a lotto, and I'm like, but I don't want to. I feel like I would enjoy time less. Now, I think I'm going to look into FGA when the next lotto event happens, but that'll be Christmas, I think. Christmas is still a lotto this year, right?
There
will technically be a lotto rerun with Nightingale, but that's a limited number of boxes, so it does not count. But, like, yeah, going ham has at times honestly made me feel shittier than not going ham, so I definitely feel like I've just gotten more relaxed about playing FGO. Like, I really like FGO. I'm here to stay with playing it, but I am, like, less concerned about logging in literally all the time to do everything. Yeah. Trying to think. I mean, no, I'm pretty... Sorry, yawn. It's 10 p.m. here. I'm pretty straightforward and always have been about spending Saint Quartz and even I meant to say command seals and even spending Saint Quartz about story bosses. Like, if I'm in a fight and I'm like, I do not like this fight, I do not want to have to go back and rethink this, I'm like, fuck it. Seals. No seals? Quartz. Like, very rarely will I go, I really can't afford to do that. Because usually if it's a story mission, you get your Saint Quartz back anyway, if you do it once. Well, yeah, now we have Leyline Stones, but that's it for later. I'm constantly caught up on the story, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the problem with those.
They're cute, but they were not designed in a timely manner to help people who stay current with content. They were a way to encourage people who were newer or were lagging behind, possibly because the content was hard, to be like, no, you can do it. Get some free
We
revives.
believe in you.
Now, for future story content, when that's relevant, that's going to be good, and I have a limited number of those, so I might get a little more thinky with where I spend my leyline stones. But, like, I definitely don't feel asked about, going like, hey, I got this for, this gets, this costs a sync quartz, but I'll do it. It doesn't matter. Like, I think there was a parabolic arc, right? Like, when we first started, we didn't know fucking anything. So, I was rolling on banners willy-nilly and shit like that. And then there was a middle ground where it was like, oh, yeah, no, this is a whole system. We're plugged in. Clairvoyance, etc. And now I'm kind of like, I've been playing this game for 5 years. I'm whatever.
Like a comfortable marriage relationship. Anyway, I don't think I have anything to add to that, so in the spirit of things, let us keep going. This next one comes from Bunny Girl versus making CE bombs out of 6.5 million FP. This will take a while.
Yeah, that will.
I keep thinking I probably need to turn on FGA and just roll a bunch of friend points gotcha just so I can get a bunch of the CEs. Because that is a thing.
CEs, yeah. They're very well rated up, I think.
Yeah, no, guys, we probably should have put this in pro tips, but just to remind people, there are the 3-star and 4-star craft essence XPs in the friend point gacha for a limited time. Now it would be, if you want to work on leveling up some of your CEs, now is a very good time to spend all that FP you are not spending. I think myself, I have like 2 point something million myself.
Yeah. I invested a decent amount of that on returns for Nobukatsu's, but it was still a very small drop in the bucket. Getting an NP5 Nobukatsu was way easier than NP5ing all the new bronzes when that happened. And there's still, not only can you get, extra bronzes and 3-star servants that way, but reminder that you can get, technically event CEs that way. Mm-hmm. Just remember to turn off your auto burn on 3-star CEs that way if you do want to do that. And also you can get up to 5-star embers now in the FP gacha.
Also, I did want to mention this, even though Nobukatsu is is he 1-star? I forget.
I think he is a 1-star, yes.
Even though he is a 1-star, and normally copies of that only gets you 2 servant coins, every copy of Nobukatsu will get you 15 of his servant coins. So if you want to prepare for grail casting in the near future, this might be a good way to stock up on some of them. Yeah,
you get like a lot of extra coins because he's technically he's treated like a limited servant.
Yes.
I mean, as usual, I think it's just you need the normal number of rolling copies to if you were gonna try and max him out. It's just that even if you're not gonna do that, extra servant coins are good for grail casting. So rolling on Nobukatsu now is a very efficient way to spend your FP because you'll end up with a lot of spare coins. We're all yawning here. 2 more.
Mm-hmm. 2 more. Well, I need to actually. Did I actually read the Bunny Girl's question?
Yeah, it was about CE boss.
Oh, okay, I'm dumb.
I think you can reread it.
Well, I'll say it again. Hello, gentlemen. I have no questions this week. Just making CE bombs while listening to the show. Have a good Gudaguda, and may Himiko bless your rolls. Yay!
Hey, we appreciate people who listen to the show when they're just killing time.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that.
I, to my understanding, based on actual feedback we've gotten, that is a primary thing people do to listen to the show. Is just they are doing something else and they need some talking, and we're good at that. Also, damn, wow, you need like 130 copies of Nobu to do a full Grail cast. Still, it takes the edge off no matter how many you roll.
Well, yes, Twitter, I am going to keep retweeting this character.
I'll just continue to rake in notifications.
But let's see.
A couple of the artists I follow on Twitter have also been bitten by the cyberpunk bug, so I don't even have to wait for edge runners to be trending for me. But all right, 2 more.
2 more. Is it 2 more? Oh yes.
Yeah.
So this next one comes from much like Pitt. I never learned to read. Comment. Have a tubular weekend, my dudes. Right back at you.
Tubular. Radical.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about old lingo. Alright. Okay, fine. So, this last one comes from Nubbe. And they say, Nubbe, 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 Nubbe. Nubbe, 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 Nubbe. Nubbe, 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 Nubbe vibes. Nubbe, Nubbe. P.S. For context, when I made this post 2 days ago, I had a fever 102, was on the cold meds, and it seemed like a good idea at the time. Sorry if it was too much. Keep up the good work. Hope Lucky's heel is doing better. You made me say like fucking 30 Nobus. I hope you appreciate this. I hope you appreciate me, and I hope you appreciate us. The things we do.
Bo 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 bo. This is definitely I am high on cold meds right now energy.
Alright, but with that, we are done with mailbag. I'm gonna yeet this now. Away with you.
Alrighty, I am also gonna close that tab. Who needs tabs, y'all? Alright, let's see what the mission clock was. Okay, we crossed an hour. And we're probably still gonna be here for a little bit. Where do you want to start with this free talk, Lucky? We have brand new servants, but also, so you didn't get that 5-star on Saito, because obviously I did not include him in a wanted breakdown. So should we start with what's current for us, or what's current for JP? What are you feeling?
Let's go with what's current for us.
Alright. That is easier. It is at the top of my notes. So you didn't get that 5-star motivated edition. Let's talk about the Coat Man, Saito Hajime, who I am absolutely putting in like first or second ascension once he's fully leveled. I understand the significance of his third ascension with the actual, Haori and stuff. The long hair's not wrong, but it's just like, man, the man kills a suit. He is an SR Saber. He has completely median attack and HP for his class and rarity. He's really in the middle there. Which is saying something because there are a fuck ton of 4-star Sabers, in case you didn't know. There are a lot. He's a pretty standard quick arts buster deck, commonly referred to as the Saber deck because a lot of early Sabers had this deck spread. His arts hits are slightly low. It's only 2 hits, so he has pretty good NP gain. I think it's 0.8, which for 2 arts cards and a quick card that's like 3 hits, pretty good. His NP is pretty typical for these type of swordsmen. He's got a single target arts. It reduces the enemy's arts res first based on overcharge. I think it starts at like 10 or 20%. It also reduces their critical chance by a flat 20% for 3 turns. By the way, I am absolutely shocked this hasn't gotten a buff, because it does like 2 things, but none of which scale with NP level. It's all overcharge or flat. But we'll see. You never know with upcoming banners and announcements. But the big thing is it's a 7-hit arts NP. So, yeah.
Oh, burr.
Very relevant right now. His first skill is a pretty standard 10 to 20% arts and buster up for 3 turns, and also drops 10 to 20 stars. Solid infusion. His second skill is just Eye of the Mind True, evade for 1 turn, and almost 20% def up for 3 turns. His final skill is a 3 hits, 3 turns of both 20-30% attack up and 50-100% crit damage up. So, pretty decent spread. He does NP and he does crit. And if he crits on a buster card, it's still good, because he gets 20% on that.
Boom.
So, very solid stuff. His passives are just Magic Resistance D and Independent Action C, so those crits are going to be pretty well spiced. So Saito has a pretty good NP. He has a decent crit focus. He flexes between arts and buster. He can use either of those cards perfectly well because of the way his buffs are set up. It's all generic or is both at the same time. It makes him useful in a variety of teams. He doesn't really stand out in any particular area. He's just a very solid boy. And again, 7-hit arts NP, and his arts, his NP gain is not like shackled or anything. So he is only single target, but he can beat up bosses as good as anybody. I think the only thing he lacks is a dedicated battery, and hey, guess what? Historian just came out, so you don't give a fuck. 0% NP? No problem. Give me that slap the car meme, just Castoria slaps a servant, and is just like, I could fit so much NP into this gauge. But yeah, so Saito's pretty straightforward character design-wise. Like, he just does sword things. Probably preferably with arts, but again, he's got 2 buster cards, he has a buster buff, the rest of his buffs are generic. Buster crit still claps. And I know, like, especially I talked about this with the Himiko one that I did. I know that, like, when this event happened, and some other stuff around this time happened in JP, like, 2 years ago, people were a little down on Buster. They were still like, I don't know, Quick can loop, arts can loop now very easily. Buster's kind of in a weird place. But there's a lot of Buster servants coming out next year, and even further, I think, going along. So, like, definitely don't sleep on the possibility of your Buster supports. I think people have realized, like, for Himiko, for instance, she can be, like, absolutely an unkillable unit with real buffs if you pair her up with future, past, and present, and future Buster support. But yeah, Saito's a pretty interesting character. A lot of people talk about with, kind of his art design and animation design, and the fact that he starts with the coat and the katana, just carrying the katana, by the way. There's a lot of Virgil comparisons, and I know there's a lot of huge DMC nerds in our audience, so
there are.
I'm sure you guys will be very happy about that. I even did the joke for you. If you want to know more about Himiko, both her history and her actual utility, her mechanics and stuff, go check out that one that I shot. It's pretty good. I think it was a good time. Put a lot of research into it. There's a lot of extra stuff there. And also, honestly, a lot of restraint from FGO's writers. There's a lot of other works which have added a lot of extra shenaniganery to Himiko, and for the most part, they have kept it mostly direct to the original Chinese source, The Chronicles of Wei. But I also talk about lots of other good history there. But I think that's a good bridge point to my next point in the notes, which is Yamataikoku, obviously the NA one, the GP one. First impressions. Because the event's been going a few days now. I've been playing it pretty decently. I am not literally caught up, but I am pretty close. I've built all my facilities. I'm getting my QP drops. Overall, I think this event is pretty interesting. It's a Gudaguda, so there's some pretty good writing for everybody. I do kind of feel like they have deliberately constructed it to balance out the cast, right? Because there's a lot of Gudaguda servants, so they came up with a way for us to kind of only gradually collect more.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that, like, one of the more recent story quests I did was technically, who all was left behind? It was Okita Alter, Cha-Cha, and one more. Was it Kagetora? I don't think it was. Because she pops out of a Hanawa later. Oh, it was Mori Nagiyoshi, that's right. I'm like, who's the third guy? Mori, of course. Love that guy. So, like, those guys aren't even in the story yet. They were, like, held in reserve to roll out. I do love that they acknowledge them. Like, you know, Cha-Cha gets multiple lines. All that fun stuff. Considering the research I did for Himiko, the way the story intros, right, with that fake-ass documentary they did, like...
I mean, they're totally poking fun at all the fucking...
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that is I think the title is a direct reference to a real Japanese, like, documentary about, like, ancient mysteries of Yamatai. Because, again, the Wanted goes into some more detail, but that really is, like, a mysterious, like, lost time period in Japanese history. The dating from the Chinese records from the time, you know, would have been around, like, between the 1st and 3rd century, and they were dismissive and belittling, but they were still direct enough to be in there and be like, yeah, we acknowledge that we're cool with this lady, and, like, write down her story and keep track and, like, talk about, you know, how she was liked and all that stuff. So the only thing is that they forgot to write down, like, where. They were just like, Yamatai was a land in Wa, which is one of their names for Japan. Now, obviously, like, I've talked about this in the Wanted, there's a possible etymological link there because Yamatai sounds a lot like Yamato, which is an ancient Japanese province, currently in the Nara prefecture, which was also called Washu, Great Wa. Again, you know, you get the symbolism there. And, you know, there's some architectural and thematic collections. Some Chinese bronze mirrors have been dug up in burial sites in Nara and surrounding prefectures. And there is a very large burial mound in Nara that scholars have a theory that it might be Queen Himiko's burial mound, which is referred to by a specific size in the Chinese records. Though the Imperial Household Agency of Japan officially has that delegated to another imperial ancestor. And then the name comes from a third story. So again, there's a lot of this mystery and stuff they build up. But I also feel like this event is almost like way more about Shinsengumi.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
Like, every time you do story event, you're getting flashback dreams about Shinsengumi stuff with, like, dates and times to let you know.
Well, I think it makes sense. Like, Yamatai is a good setting, but again, we know fairly amount about tribal Japan, like with the Jomon, the Yayoi, and all that good stuff. But it's not it's a setting piece, not necessarily a story piece, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we have archaeological evidence of those historical periods, so we can talk about, like, they talk about, like, Himiko talks about, and Brother Tortoise talk about, the fact that, like, their civilization started because they started rice cultivation, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we know when that happened, we know about the art influences and stuff, but there were no written records from this time period in Japan. Like I said earlier, I mentioned the two big sources for Japanese mythology and history we have, the Kojiki and the Nihon Shoki. Those were written in, like, the 700s or the 600s. I think it was the 7th century, so it'd be the 600s, which is like 300 or 400 years after when Himiko is dated by the Chinese sources. So people weren't writing this stuff down in Japan at the time. So there's a lot of wiggle room, and I think it fits them to not. like I said, it's oddly conservative. They are not going really crazy so far on, like, the fantastical stuff. For instance, I know that in my reading and research, I know that in the Tomb Raider remake, when they brought Tomb Raider back, that's all about Queen Himiko and Yamatai.
Yes.
Yeah, so
It
like,
got very freaky at the end.
yeah, no. And like, there are so many different interpretations of Queen Himiko's character that there's a literal entry in this on Wikipedia for this with
Oh, wow.
academic sources. Like, there are Japanese scholars and commentators writing about how, like, yeah, because we don't really know anything about this chick, like, historically. There's a lot of different versions. Like, you know, like I said, there's a lot of different ways they play it. The Chinese mention that she was older but unmarried, so there's, like, you know, some people are like, oh, you know, mature lady kind of action. Okami kind of goes that way with, like, a you know, beautiful, more mature woman who's helping you out. You know, some of them portray her as, like, young and spunky. I think FGO kind of, like, cuts a little bit different there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely from the young and spunky pod.
Yes.
Himiko is a country girl.
Yes. And they, like, character writing wise, they play it up a lot that, you know, she had this immense isolation. I mean, it's not exact, because something that I noticed FGO is leaving out is they forgot to mention how the Chinese records all attributed that she had 1,000 handmaidens. So it's not like she was exactly alone all the time. But, you know, it's still like that was actually in the records. They, you know, the Chinese records were like, and after she was made the queen, she retired to a giant palace filled with guards and really didn't go outside. She had 1,000 female servants and one dude servant who handled all of the meals, the wardrobes, and the messages. I feel bad for that guy, by the way.
Wasn't that his brother?
No, not necessarily. I think FGO says it that way, and there are records that her unnamed brother, which, by the way, I think is why he's called Brother Tortoise, because nobody wrote down this poor boy's name.
Oh, no.
Like, history just doesn't know. But depending on the source, because this was a fairly older Chinese record, this was reiterated in several later Chinese histories as well. The fact that there are one or two male servants is usually a separate person. I think FGO just conflates them with Brother Tortoise for simplicity.
Maybe.
There's some, like, if you're fictionalizing this, there's some reading in you can do.
Yeah.
I mentioned this in the one, and apparently Nasu said in interviews that in Gudaguda events, the characters that appear and the stuff that happens, like, in the past is not necessarily meant to reflect the literal, like, main timeline. So, like, the Himiko and the Brother Tortoise we meet may not meant to be, like, strictly, perfectly canon to FGO's actual literal history. You know, alternate timelines and all that shit. But yeah, there's a lot of speculation on that end. It's really good, interesting to think about, but I think, you know, you mentioned this earlier when we were talking about Shinsengumi. A lot of the meat has to come from them, because that's, like, a lot of that is well-attested history that's very dramatic. Like, there's a lot of drama about the rise and fall of the Shinsengumi that you can get out of there, you know. So I'm really enjoying the event. You know, I'm enjoying all the little cameos and stuff, and it's really neat. I'll continue to progress story and stuff. We got raids going on.
I don't know, like, honestly, things are happening, but it seems like the usual Gudaguda stuff. It's slightly serious, but slightly goofy.
Yeah.
Things are happening.
Guda particles and whatnot.
Shout out to Gordolf for once again just being like, what the fuck is happening? Why are you all so used to this?
Yeah.
But the director doesn't understand that this shit is just, you know, part of the fucking Chaldean experience. Not exactly exact. Like I said, your main character is Ryoma, who did a lot separate from the Shinsengumi.
Yeah.
Like, no, the Shinsengumi is in there. Fucking, the Goro Majima looking fucker is Okita Soji. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Shinsengumi will definitely be a part, but they might be playing the part, like, I don't, like, we're not going from, like, the forming of the Shinsengumi all the way to the fucking...
No, this will probably be some late game stuff.
Nah, I'm expecting, like...
Because, like, you can tell in the event they were contemporaries, because, like, in story, Saito has some very pointed insults for Izo. Like, the kind of stuff you would only know if you guys were hanging around at the same time.
Oh yeah, no, like, some of the Shinsengumi was actually, I think it was, wasn't it, like, the last... I can't remember, but I believe in one of the events, Ryoma's just all, like, speaking to one of the Shinsengumis, like, because at one point the Shinsengumi was blamed for Ryoma's, assassination, and stuff. Like again, I'm super excited for, like a Dragon Ishin. Actually, are they still calling it Yakuza for this one, or they have already...
No, it is, I believe, officially Like a Dragon.
Okay, cool.
Yes, Saito was also, and that's actually true to history. Saito was actually a police officer before he was recruited into. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but the thing that was before the Shinsengumi.
It started with like an R or something. No,
Yeah.
it started with an N.
But it also had a gumi in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, like, the Meiji Restoration, like, had a lot of people in it.
Yes, it was a very complex time. Like I said, lots of drama there. And so it makes sense that they, like, mine that for the like, interpersonal drama, because there's not really any interpersonal drama that wouldn't just be made up to Yamataikoku, right?
Right.
Like, I think there's a little bit of stuff they imply with, like, Himiko being concerned about where Io is in this, because Io is supposed to be her successor. And obviously, I think that will come back in the new Gudaguda, because Io is the welfare. But, you know, they don't really, like, actually have a lot to work with there. And we'll be talking about more of that stuff.
Do we have a fucking Kondo Asami sprite yet?
Yeah, actually, I don't know.
Because that's...
Has Kondo appeared in an event?
No, because when we talk, like...
Yeah,
they talk about him a lot, but for those of you who don't know, Kondo Asami and Serizawa Kamo basically co-ran it until everyone was just like, alright, Kamo's being a fucking fuckwit. We literally need to kill him or he's gonna drive this shit into the ground. So they assassinated him. And Kondo took over as the lead. Let's see here. As the event covers the history for Yamanami. I don't know. Well, honestly, the history of Yamanami is actually pretty fucking simple. He was the vice commander, but he didn't like how the Shinsengumi was trying to run, so he tried to run the fuck away, and back then, the Shinsengumi, if you deserted, you died.
Yeah. And I can say that is one of the flashbacks, is...
Yeah.
Because specifically, he is attested to having been pursued by Ogita.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not truly attested, but it is commonly believed that when sending Ogita after Yamanami, that he picked Ogita to act as his second for seppuku because they were very close.
I don't know if...
And there's some very famous poems about that as well.
Oh, that's right. I actually looked it up. It was the Mibu Roshigumi.
Yes. And I'm sure that is where some of the origins for, like, Wolves of Mibu and stuff come from.
Yeah. Yeah, technically, the Shinsengumi was technically a special police force, so yes, it makes sense that,
that's why sometimes they have guns! Sorry, that's a joke with several of the trailers we got from State of Play. Several people reacting to it were just, like, shocked when Samurai suddenly just, like, gun!
Actually, yeah, no, actually, well, it is true that, well, you actually see this in his animation, but no, Roma did have a pistol. I don't actually know how much he used it, but he did own one.
Yeah.
He was famous for having he loved his Western boots, and he had a pistol. And at some point, he owned a Western ship, and he was like, this thing's awesome.
Well, yeah, the shipbuilding would have been fairly advanced at that stage. And honestly, boots make sense. Like, traditional Japanese footwear, not very boot-like. And, you know, listen, you can't say no to a good, sturdy pair of boots.
No.
There's nothing quite like it. But we'll be talking a little bit more about Keisuke in a little bit. But yeah, actually, maybe soon, because I'm trying to think. Is there anything else to say about Yamataikoku first impressions? The raids have not started yet, obviously, so we can't really weigh in on that.
I do like the little farming aspect. It's not too complex. It's just upgrade, collect every 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I've always enjoyed seeing, like, you know, the land being improved, because basically every time you upgrade, the land looks a little bit better, the houses look a little bigger. They put fucking Haniwa everywhere, though, and that slightly weirds me out. Just saying.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of that. But there's still some very interesting stuff there to get into, and I like it. And we'll talk more about, like, final conclusions to the story. The enemies being the Zombo Shinsengumi is a little weird, but they are just literal mooks. So much so that, like, that literally one of them gets the fucking Darth Vader send-off. You failed me. Yeah, sorry about that, boss. They were really strong. Just fucking chops that dude in half. Okay, if you fail me again, you're dead.
I love it. This is actually noted on his Wikipedia page. Roman has also been seen as an intriguing mix of traditional and modern, symbolized by his preference for samurai dress while favoring Western footwear. Yeah, no, he just liked boots.
It's pretty rad. Also, no, Axe, because Yamanami was the vice commander.
Yes.
So the guy who became vice commander after him was Hijikata.
Yep.
He got promoted to the slot.
Yep.
So again, lots of interpersonal drama there.
Yeah, no, like, oh god. Sorry, I'm really bad with names, but basically, Serizawa and Kondo Asami were basically co-founders and co-commanders with Yamanami under them, and then you had, where was Hijikata under that? I can't remember.
He was one of the unit commanders first.
Yeah, but
They had
then
various squads.
But after after everything went to shit, they had to assassinate Serizawa. Kondo took sole command, and I think it was around this time that fucking Yamanami I just butchered his name. I just fucking don't remember. Like tried to desert, like due to like all something or another, and then Hijikata moved up, and then they just kind of ghosted from there. I don't remember. I'm not good. I'm really not good with dates.
Yeah,
but
luckily, I will say this, shout out to Yamataikoku for prefacing every one of these flashbacks with when it occurred.
Yeah.
It's very helpful. But yeah, it's solid. And there's a lot of this action coming out. Well, honestly, some of that might just be, like, dating and stuff. It wasn't until the Meiji Restoration where Japan fixed their dating system, and they may not have estimated correctly. I ran into this a lot when talking about Himiko. And also, they adopted Western styles of scholarship, which include, I believe the source-based analysis started in Germany, where basically, like, to say what historical events are, you, like, don't just listen to what common knowledge is. You actually, like, okay, this guy specifically said that at this date, this thing happened. So, because that would basically be, like, being invented, these kinds of, like, switching to Western standards of, like, scholarship and stuff around the time this stuff was happening, it's interesting to see that kind of folded. Japan is also very interesting in that I think because of kind of the country's, compact geographic size and long history of provincial conflicts, Japan is not afraid to, like, absolutely double take on their historical figures, right? Like, Nobunaga, for instance, is like, yo, is Nobunaga literally Satan? Is Nobunaga just an avatar of Nyarlathotep? Or, is he a normal guy? Or is he, like, a comedy guy? Full of Owari kind of stuff? What are we gonna do here? They go all over the place. I talked before about how Himiko is portrayed a bajillion different ways. It happens with a lot of figures because it's, even a few hundred years ago, it's hard to pin down whether or not things were done that were, like, wholly good or wholly bad. Like, I think with modern history and, like, modern statistical analysis, you can be like, yeah, no, that was a bad call. We ended up, blowing up a lot of innocent people, or we wasted a lot of money. It's very easy to track that within the past, like, century or two. But you get into the windier areas of history, and it's just kind of like, yeah, no, kind of open-ended. We don't really do that in Western cultures, except for, like, really classical stuff. Like, you got to go back to antiquity before we'll do that. But this is a thing that actually is, like, commented in FGO. Like, Gil and I think, who's the other character? Somebody else ancient makes a joke about how the fact that, like, the Yamatai stuff is so mysterious and everything, but it's really Chengong, right? Yeah, which is hilarious again because I said that it was a Chinese scholarship source who wrote it down first, Chronicles of the Kingdom of Wei. But, like, they literally point out that the time difference on this is, like, so little. Like, this was happening, Da Vinci says that the singularity is dated to 3rd century AD, I think. So, the 200s. For comparison, I believe if I remember my research for Wanted correctly, the date we have for our oldest copy of the Epic of Gilgamesh is from approximately 2200 BCE. So, like, literally, Gilgamesh's story was written down 2,000 years before the Himiko thing happened. But again, because history is different and history does not flow universally, we did not have good records from that time period as a human race, so, in that time and place, so yeah. This is also probably, by the way, why Himiko is like a superhuman. When Izo literally says she punches as hard as Oreo. Because it's... I don't want to say, like, I don't want anybody to misinterpret if I say it's like ancient Japanese caveman times, but, like, the level of historical detail is so mysterious, it's much more mythological in Fate than other parts of the world. And if you think that's weird, keep in mind, King Arthur's stories are canonically pegged to around 500 CE in Fate, and Artoria canonically fought, giants and witches and fairies and shit. So, like, myths move at different rates in different places. Like, even though Roman servants from that time period were very low mystery, because Roman history is way more detailed, like, it was still very mythy in Japan right then. But let's speak about some Japanese myth. Let's move on to our new servant details. I'm sure we'll have many more Yamataikoku things to say, and also many more Shinsengumi things to say. But also in this part when we talk about these new servants. So, let me stretch my bones a little, roll my neck. I called this one Tea Edition, spilling the tea. And this one's going to be a little lengthy, because these are all new servants who actually do things and stuff. So we have our first new welfare, Io. She is a ruler, and as Himiko's successor, she is basically Arts Himiko. It's not a one-to-one. There's some stat differences. I will point out that Io has the lowest attack of any rulers, period, because there's only 4-star and up rulers. But out of the 4 stars, she has the second highest HP, so, fairly tanky. So her, I just realized I did not write down her deck in my notes. Let me just go back.
Rewind.
I think her NP is a little low hit for looping. I think this is a Stalin grind. Because while I am digging up her deck, I can tell you her NP is AoE arts, so it does actually do damage. This is the major thing that's different between her and Himiko. It buffs herself's NP damage for 3 turns by 10% first. So technically there's a little bit of lip service paid to looping, but it is not, important. It's a fairly minor buff. The big thing is that it automatically sticks the enemy with Evil Curse for 3 turns, so it doubles their curse damage.
Oof.
And then it hits them with Curse for 3 turns, based on overcharge from 1k to 3k. And her deck is, QQAAB, with high hit counts, so slightly lower NP gain. So the possibility to loop kind of exists, but you're not going to loop by default. She's got a 4-hit NP and 0.4 NP gain. But 4 hits, arts, and quick cards, so some decent numbers out there. But yeah, so you're looking at, immediately a curse setup. If you can get her to maximum overcharge, which again, shouldn't be hard because there's a lot of +2 overcharges, and she's a free NP5 if you do the story content as a welfare, you're looking at 6k curse damage for 3 turns. That is not insignificant.
No.
Her first skill is a 20 to 50% arts on herself for 3 turns, and a 30 to 50% damage up versus divine for 3 turns. So kind of the opposite of... There seems to be some, opposites of Himiko stuff that I don't really pick up in the story structure yet. I don't think her profile is translated. She has a skill later, which is called Dark Oracle. This first skill is Kido, parentheses, Destruction. But, this gives her the opposite of Himiko. Himiko gets demonic bonus damage, so Io gets divine bonus damage. It also gives all enemies 1k curse for 5 turns, so even more curse.
Just rub DOT on everything.
Yeah. And Noax, I believe there are a couple of servants who do Evil Curse now. That is, I believe that's what Dante's does. Does Dante's have a bonus damage versus enemies who are cursed? If that is a buff that Dante's has, that would be flat, percentage based on just if they have curse. Because I know that, Consort Yang has okay, he applies Evil Curse. Yeah, that's just, I don't know if Evil Curse stacks. I think it does. That would just increase the curse damage levels. So yeah, there's quite a few of them that go out there and do that. But yeah, there's a lot of dot here. And the fact that this is on just a straight up skill hit for 5 turns, very solid. If you've hit them with her NP, that becomes, 2k for 3 turns to all enemies. And there's a lot of curse servants out there. Though, I will point out, curse is usually more quick leaning. This is probably why Io has 2 quick cards, even though she doesn't really blend too much with quick, but she's got a few things. She's still primarily arts because her second skill is that Dark Oracle skill I mentioned. It's very similar to Himiko's third skill. It's only a 20 to 30% battery on self, but it rapidly ups her star absorption on arts cards for 1 turn and her critical damage on arts cards for 1 turn by 50 to 100%. So, big arts crits. You drop some big arts crits, that low NP gain's not going to matter.
True.
And her final skill is herself. She, again, has a little charisma variant. So, 10 to 20% attack up for the team for 3 turns. Increases critical damage of Wild Beast type allies for 3 turns, 30 to 50%, and gains 10 critical stars. It's not as crazy as Himiko's buff, because that gives you 8 stars per turn on everybody in the squad, so 24 stars per turn. But still, she is a welfare, so they spiced her down a little bit. So it's an interesting one. Now, she also has a lot of passives. She has Mag Resistance B, fits a ruler, good debuff resistance. She has Territory Creation B, so those arts cards slap even more. She has the same natural body passive that Himiko does, so Io is straight up immune to poison and burn. just like Himiko. Just those dots, no, those don't work.
Mm.
And then lastly, she has a special passive called Kuna's Mantra. So this gives her a very interesting spread. It gives herself the Wild Beast trait, so she will get the critical up on herself on her charisma. It increases her quick performance by 5%, which is pretty good. And it also gives her a passive 10% increase on critical damage for quick cards. So a really interesting hybrid passive. And remember that the way quick chains work now, if you start you get more stars if you do a full quick chain. But if you start a chain with quick, you get free critical chance. So there's a lot of interesting concepts here. Also, I don't know about the plot, but I will say, I think because there is no further records of Yamatai, it sounds like what they're doing with Io is that, like, Himiko is the beginning, Io is the end kind of thing.
On in Dusk?
Yeah. She has a dark circle behind her inner arts. She is technically rated as lawful evil. Though it is funny, she has a king trait because she was picked as the ruler. Funny story, by the way. The reason why Yamatai has 2 female rulers is they had a lot of conflicts and strife with kings, so that's why Himiko got picked. And then somebody picked a dude to succeed Himiko, according to the Chinese records, but the people literally wouldn't follow him, so they eventually found a relative of Himiko's, and that was Io, and they picked her to be queen, even though, according to the Chinese records, she was only 13.
Yeah, no, if I remember correctly, like, pre-Yamatai, a lot of the, what was in the Japanese tribes, they were very separated and very, very aggressive in fighting, like, constant conflict.
Yeah. And that even parallels to the actual, like, Japanese records that came later. Like, Japan's influence was much smaller and grew gradually. One of the historical figures who is thought to maybe have been a parallel for Himiko is actually, I forget her actual name, but it's like, is it Yamato Mikoto Hime? The woman who supposedly founded Grand Ise Shrine. Because she was the daughter of one of the early emperors of Japan and was set out to build the Great Ise Shrine, which is the, like, folklorically, like, religiously, the biggest Shinto shrine. That is, I think, supposed to be the most powerful shrine to Amaterasu. And allegedly, this princess wandered into the neighboring Ise region, which is next to Yamatai, just to let you know, like, how Yamato, how like, interconnected these things were. And Amaterasu spoke to her directly and was like, yo, build that right here. I want it right there. And considering Himiko hears divine voices, you can see why there's, like, some possible parallels. I pointed this out and wanted. I think it's very sus that no Tamamo has any interaction with Himiko. And it's not like they couldn't do it. They've had Chi with Saito in studio, because she's recorded, like, 2 Koyanskayas. And it's not like they haven't done later interactions for Himiko, because, Kumino Izumo has a line for Himiko. So, like, it's just kind of like, it's very sus. Because if the name is correctly recorded as Himiko, that has, like, direct parallels in Japanese to mean, like, son-daughter or son-child. So it's very interesting. I actually read that there are apparently some Japanese scholars who believe that Himiko was the real-life inspiration for the legends that came about Amaterasu.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think there's, like, a lot of deep-cut scholarship on that, because, again, Yamatai is so vague and so unknown, but there is a lot of speculative scholarship about this subject. Mm-hmm. So I feel like FGO got a little more creative with Io than they did with Himiko, because we don't know a lot about her. Just that, like, again, the Chinese records tag it at the end, and so it's an interesting one. But she's got some real direct synergy with like, curse teams, and there's a lot of curse units. And also, she's very good at arts crits, which, hey, because Lady Avalon happened, that's going to be very popular right now. So, yeah, this is a solid welfare. Okay, she can loop except for berserkers and assassins. Okay, that's still pretty good. Is that natively or with buffs? I mean, I should say with buffs that aren't hers. If it's with, like, full Castoria buffs, that's still pretty good. Double Castoria? Okay. Or possibly double Lady Avalon. I think they have similar arts increases. I would technically recommend Lady Avalon over Castoria because, like I said, Io wants to crit. But still, pretty decent. By the way, also in the sussy column, her append skill is bonus damage versus foreigners.
Yeah, no, I'm
space.
still giving fucking. I know we already have Senior Rikyu, but something's up.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. Because I do want to talk about our other buddy. So we have Yamanami Keisuke.
Yay!
Coming out perfectly timed, just matching when Saito launches in FGONA. So he's a limited SR Saber like his buddy. He has low attack and very high HP. I think he's like number 4 or 5 in terms of Saber HP for 4 stars, which is saying a lot, by the way, because I would like to remind you that Dion and Barghest have more HP than some 5-star Sabers, in case you forgot that fact. Like, stat skews, big. I'll be right back, so I'm going to vamp a little. Let's see. My next step is... Yeah, okay. So he's also got an interesting deck. So I mentioned Himiko's deck, not Himiko, Io's deck earlier was QQAAB. So is Keisuke's, which is interesting. That is not the normal Saber deck. I think this is a little more popular on Archers back in the day. But he has similar, slightly lower hit counts like Io. So he has a higher NP gain. It's 0.7. Actually, no, he's the other way around. I'm thinking of Saito. I wrote all these notes all at once, by the way. But the interesting thing here is once we get past the core stats, we have an interesting unit here because it's not unheard of. Prince of Landling is a very well-respected unit, but Keisuke has an arts support NP. So it's full-blown non-damaging. It is for the team. It is called Yamazakura. It is in reference to a very famous poem about his death. Not his death poem, but a poem a friend allegedly wrote him after he died. I don't remember if it was attributed or not. Internet. It's still a very famous poem that you should go read sometime about mountain cherry blossoms. But basically what it does is it gives party attack for 3 turns based on NP level. Starts at 20%, maxes out at 40%. So it's a charisma to start with. It gives him 10 stars per turn for 3 turns on himself. It gives 50% crit up for Shinsengumi allies for 3 turns. And then it charges the team's NP gauge based on overcharge, minimum 10%. So this is pretty interesting. You're looking at attack up, you're looking at stars up per turn, you're looking at crit damage for Shinsengumi, so we have a full-blown Shinsengumi trait and Shinsengumi buffs now. Oh yeah, no, I mean if you literally want to use all of your battery in FGO on a single battery, you can in fact do Dion Landling Keisuke. You will in fact not die. Nothing will ever change. You'll see that even more when I get to his full skill spread. But yeah, this is a pretty useful one. Team battery is good. Straight up Shinsengumi team comps. And a decent number of those boys are arts or can use arts cards. So you can do some like chaining. I think every Shinsengumi servant who is out likes to crit. Does Okita actually have a crit? Vanilla Okita, I should specify. Does she actually have a crit buff? I know she has a star absorb. Yeah, she does have a crit buff now, okay. It's hard to tell because, for like a lot of early units, she's been buffed several times, and I don't have her, so it's hard for me to keep track, remembering what all this stuff does. But yeah, okay. So, yeah, no. She has Mind's Eye Fake. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so, all of your squad goals, will fit together. I don't think anybody in the Shinsengumi will cry about getting free 50% crit up for 3 turns. So, in addition to, all that stuff his NP does, his first skill is just a charisma again. It's a 10 to 20% attack for 3 turns, and also 10 to 20% NP gain for 3 turns, and a 10 star bomb. Not big, but still decent. And again, that NP gain probably not going to hurt the kind of team comps you're going to do with this guy, even if it's only 20%. So his second skill is a flat 20% battery for himself, and also 20 to 30% quick and arts up for 3 turns. Very typical stuff. Just makes him better at face cards. He kind of needs that. Again, no damage on his NP. But remember how I mentioned earlier that this is the team that's not going to die. It's going to eat your entire battery. So his third skill, his final skill, is a 1-hit 3 turns evade for the squad. It is a 2k to 3k heal for the team. And it removes all of your ailment type debuffs, which is the damage over time debuffs, curse, burn, poison. So yeah, no, the dude's a healer. He's got a heal kit here. Very robust, very useful. Enemy DOT buffs can be very annoying. So yeah, this can be quite good. Much like Saito, his passes are pretty simple. Look, he's back.
Sorry about that.
No problem. I was debating with the chat about building Shinsengumi team comps, because now that Keisuke is here, that's one of his NP effects is to buff Shinsengumi allies 50% crit damage for 3 turns.
Powerful.
Synergy. He's got a lot of other powerful stuff. You just missed it. I talked about his third skill. It's a team evade for 1 hit, a 2 to 3k heal, and removes the damage over time debuffs.
Oh.
The boy just a
Sick.
healer. He is a support machine. So, passives are just magic resistance D and writing E, so his 2 quick cards will do a little bit better, and he has a little bit of debuff resist. Without a damaging NP, Keisuke's max damage is a little bit limited, even though he has the ability to improve his cards, and he has a lot of attack up, both on his NP and his first skill, which applies to the whole team, so he gets it 2, but he's got a lot of buff and recovery potential. He's got interesting synergy and team comps with his Shinsengumi buff, even though that's not its primary buff, and the buffs he does for the team are healing, obviously, but they're stuff like stars, crit, attack up. Nobody hates those. Like, those are perfectly generic buffs. So, you're probably going to see some Yamanami team comps. I also like they talk about, I assume this may be related to some future stuff, but his NP is, as I mentioned before, Yamazakura, Mountain Blossoms. It's related to a poem about his death. It's mentioned that it used to be a suicide-type noble phantasm, but due to character development reasons, it is now just full leveling. Ooh, that's pretty good if he can loop his non-damaging NP. It does give you team-wide charge, even if it's not a lot, but that's pretty good. Attack ups, crit ups. Because, obviously, by the way, in case you didn't pick up on that, it's not allies except him. He's a Shinsengumi ally, too, so he also gets the crit buff. And, honestly, it's kind of funny, because it's similar in a way to how, like, Himiko works, because Himiko is also a damage dealer, but with a non-damaging NP. Though hers is Buster, so you can set up a Buster Brave Chain with it, which is hilarious. But yeah, FGO doing interesting things with non-NP card with face card damage. But let's talk about NP card damage.
Okie dokie.
Senno Rikyu, one of the most influential figures in the Japanese tea ceremony, a Sengoku period contemporary, was around with Nobu and the others. And, like, yeah, I believe if I remember my reading correctly, I think all of the major schools of tea ceremony trace their lineage back to Rikyu. So, very on theme for a Gudaguda. You got a Shinsengumi, and you got a Sengoku gender flip? Question mark? What's going on here? But yeah, so, Rikyu is a slightly interesting berserker, deck-wise. Her deck is quick arts buster. That's right, this is an oops all green deck. This deck is exceptionally rare except for early assassins. I think the most modern unit I could find who has this deck is like Summer Okita. Like quick has fallen way out of favor. So it's pretty interesting. And stat wise, let me see. It's pretty good. Yeah. Her hit counts, that's my next parameter. Her hit counts and NP gain, by the way, are pretty crazy for this. So she's only got 1 arts card, which is 3 hits, right? It's pretty normal. She has 3 quick cards. Those gain NP too. Hey, we want to know how many hits those are? 5. 5 hit quick cards. 3 of them. Her NP gain is 0.7. It's a little crazy.
Yes, that is indeed a little crazy.
Yeah, I mentioned, launch level assassins. Most of those guys had 1 or 2 hit quick cards, so their NP gain was like over 1%, sometimes 2%. I think Carmilla, for instance, has like straight up over 2% NP gain. Yes, her extra is also 5 hit. Her Buster card is also 3 hits as well. So, like, even though the Star Gen is good. So a lot of early assassins weren't able to utilize the fact that they had 3 quick cards to NP very well because their hit counts were dog shit. Assuming no other modifiers, and there's a lot of weird stats because technically your NP charge is like modified by the class you're hitting. It's modified by like the effectiveness of the card buffs and other shit. But just on raw numbers, if you assume like the NP charge attack formula is like generated by, how much percentage you gain when hitting per hit, like you normally look at a servant gens like 1 or 2% per hit per card. And then depending on the effectiveness of the cards you're hitting, that can go way up or way down. I don't know if critting straight up doubles the effectiveness of this gain. But hey, by the way, remember, starting a chain with quick gives you free crit chance now. And you get extra stars when you quick brave chain. So it's pretty nuts. And they didn't slump in the stats either. Rikyu has decent attack, I think like number 5 out of Berserkers, which is saying a lot. Like, she's less than Kentoki, but not by much. And pretty low HP, but not the lowest. It's literally tied with Hijikata's max HP. And her NP is an AoE Quick. It has 6 hits. And how it works is, it gives enemies NP Seal for 1 turn. It gives them 1k curse damage for 5 turns flat. So some synergy even with Io there, but also with other quick cursors like Doman, like Dante's. And also, based on Overcharge, it does bonus damage to man attribute enemies. And indeed, based on the video, I was correct when I guessed about this on a stream earlier. I'm pretty sure this is similar to, say, Shonagun's effect, at least for the default Ascensions, where, like, her NP is she invites you to a tea ceremony and, like, sucks you into the existential void of tea. So yeah, that's pretty spiced. That's already a pretty decent NP. You're looking at bonus damage, multiple hits, damage over time, an itchy nose. Yeah, banish you to the tea ceremony. Well, we'll see about that. People keep saying Foreigner Energy. I don't know about that, but there's definitely something ominous about Sendo Rikyu. I think I mentioned this on air, but it was like 2 hours ago. She is chaotic evil. It's a little weird, all things considered.
I'm thinking demonic influence, personally.
Yeah, and that would fit, obviously, with, like, a lot of our themes of the Sengoku era, right? Like, we talked before about how Nobunaga is thought of, like, very weirdly, sometimes as a literal demon, because Nobunaga was not afraid to be like, oh, you think I'm Satan? Okay. That's branding, baby. So far, Sendo Rikyu doesn't have any funny traits to give anything away. Just, hominid, humanoid, female, weak to enema elish. But again, we literally cannot access her last 2 ascensions yet, so that'll mean nothing yet. But she has skills, which are pretty good. First skill is a party-wide 10 to 20% quick gain for 3 turns, and 10 to 20% NP gain, period. Which she really doesn't need, an extra 20% NP gain, but I'm sure will work well. Also, it is a 5 to 15 star bomb.
Just thinking about, what are the chances that her latter 2 ascensions are a completely different class?
I mean, we have debated that possibility. It could be. We know that NPs can change between ascensions. They've done a lot of freaky stuff. Traits can change between ascensions. For instance, I mentioned earlier, hominid and wild beast traits. Guys, in case you forgot, Summer Kiara is a beast trait servant in her 3rd ascension and hominid in her first 2 ascensions. Like, there's some really weird mechanical stuff that can happen with ascensions with coding, so I don't know. They could go ham. I would say that her skill kit is technically like class averse. I will say I think as Arc changes alignment, which does matter for some mechanical stuff. I will say that I personally think she doesn't have to, because as a very quick focused Berserker 5-star, like, I think this is the unit a lot of people wanted Shangyu to be. Mm-hmm. Because I think these numbers are pretty crazy. And keep in mind, Summer Ibuki just came out and is already being heralded as, like, the new farming clean sweeper. So, this is like a follow-up that still makes you go, oh, I could roll on that banner. Because her second skill gives a targeted ally 20 to 30% battery and +2 overcharge for 1 time 3 turns, and a 1-hit 3 turns invul, which obviously you can use on yourself, but also teammates. And NP overcharge, rad. Final skill gives her a very interesting 30 to 50% crit up for 3 turns, and then again 30 to 50% crit up on quick cards specifically, so that means that it's 60 to 100% on quick cards specifically, which she has a lot of. She has 3 of those. That's
terrifying.
Also, gives her an on-attack buff when she hits an enemy with a quick card. That enemy gets 10% defense down for 3 turns. Activates first, by the way. Activates before you land the blow. The blow that is currently plus 100% crit damage. So, not only does she have a great AoE NP that can loop, but also she will murder bosses in follow-up turns with stars. Hell, it doesn't even have to be follow-up turns. Just doing a quick NP as the first card will mean you have juice left over. So, it's pretty brutal. And also, she has some fairly unique passives. She has a special Madness Enhancement, which not only gives her, like, 10% extra damage on her 1 Buster card, but just increases her crit damage by a flat 5%. She has a special Territory Creation, so that not only gives her 1 Arts card better, but also gives her 20% extra debuff resistance to mental debuffs. So she's better about charms, terrors, etc. Sleep. She has once again showing us that, like, FGO has done a lot of overhauls and passive skills. She has just a self 10% debuff success rate, passive buff. It's artistic aesthetic T, rather than being like a personal thing. It's just a passive she has. And then, by the way, I don't like how this is translated, but her final passive is called Unfettered and Flexible, and it increases her NP generation rate with quick cards by 10% all the time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no. So, Lasengle has gone ham on being like, hey, I know we just released a, like, arguably game-breaking, hyper-popular, really good farmer in Buster. What if we did that again, but in quick? Like, this is just, damn. Like, this is if we are trying to make quick cool again, like with, Summer Scotty, obviously, and stuff like that, and some of the straight-up mechanic refinements they've done, this is a great step. This is an AoE Berserker with good stats. She has a competitive attack stat, great buffs, scary NP gain potential, and, like, I know, like I said earlier, Summer Ibuki just came out and people are like, best new farmer. But if you prefer quick units, like for whatever reason, or you just happen to have more quick support than Buster support, this is a good pick. Like, we are not half-assing these servants, y'all. I would make a joke about a full ass, but Rikyu is wearing, long kimonos and robes, so I can't really tell anything. Her silhouette is very tubular at the moment. She does at least wear cute hats. I'm also noticing there's a lot of trees in these arts. And she's carrying, like, a branch. And is that I think that's, like, a hatchet or an adze. Like, some kind of hoeing or tilling tool in her first ascension. That's pretty metal. She has a cup of tea in Ascension 2, balanced in her little tiny baby hands. So watch out for that one. I say little tiny baby hands, by the way, because the silhouette, one, her hands are tiny in the art, but also the silhouette of her second ascension makes it look like the bottom of her cloak is, like, also extra hands.
Bro, I'm just looking it over. I'm just like, it's very nice.
Is that a ghost hand on her shoulder? Is that what's going on?
It could.
That's very traditional Japanese creepy time. That looks like a spider leg to me, if that's a hand. Oh, no, it is a hand. It blends in with her. I see it now, the lines. It blends in with her kimono. Yeah, no, there's just a ghost hand. Ghost hand shoulder. She's got a fan in her offhand. Yeah, this is some fucking weird-ass J-horror shit.
No, yeah, there's definitely some demon or spirit shit going on here.
So those, something that I do not think is normal, the FGO Wiki does not have her, battle sprites either. That, I think, is just an oversight, because those are obviously in the game. But in her second ascension card art, I'm like, might look like some giant hands extending from the bottom of her robes.
Maybe some yokai association, then.
Yeah, there's some weird shit. I mean, I would love more traditional yokai stuff. They went pretty ham on the Cthulhu Mythos stuff. I know that's very popular in Japan, but, like, we could flex it up. Have some regular-ass ghost stuff. I mean, they're hiding it behind story clearance, so I'm pretty sure this is how you would do. Also, Axe, I would argue, I don't think they have to do anything to her mystery to bump her up to 5 stars. Again, this is the origin of the tea ceremony. Like I said, I believe most modern major schools of tea ceremony are descended from Rikyu's teachings. So, like, that's a big deal.
Big deal.
Remember, mystery, locational, and context-based. But yeah, no, just in terms of, like, raw servant numbers, Sen no Rikyu is amazing. Like, this is a real-ass, berserker. Like, they are not fluffing. Indeed, there is a tweet.
Oh, wait. I think I recognize that fucking her kimono in the second ascension. Hang on.
Of course, Lucky would get it without needing to see the tweet that's about this.
So, what is
but
this?
Yes, that is the tweet that was posted in our spoiler channel that people are discussing in Patreon chat, is that it's compared to a particular kimono pattern.
Yeah. Sorry, it's like I was actually looking over details and I was noticing the pattern on the kimono. I was like, wait a minute. Oh. Alright, but I think that's enough about that. I have ideas, but I don't want to necessarily spit them out right here.
No. I think there's some plenty of work there. But quick is goo. And we'll unpack some future shit. Like I said, they're story tying it, so there's some shenanigans here. But yeah, I think that's about everything for our major show. We crossed the 2-hour mark. Technically 2 hours 17, but some of that'll get edited. But I'm out of water, and we are out of news and things to talk about.
Alright, so I think we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah. If, you need more of us in your quest to, do more stuff, do open more boxes, whatever it is you do with your free time. You can get more of us. So we stream Mondays. This Monday, Lucky played through all of Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Actually got all of it done in one sitting. It's a great time. Next Monday, coming up, Lucky will be taking a crack at Mega Man X2. I do not know if he will beat it all in one sitting.
I do not think I'll beat it all in one sitting.
It depends on if we're going for completion again or not. But there's definitely some stuff we probably want to work on.
Yeah, no, it's... Sorry, Lucky's doing, furious research in the background now.
Yeah, no. I skimmed enough to be like, oh, this is gonna be good. However this breaks, this is gonna be good. But yeah, check out our Monday stream as well. Additionally, there will no longer be giant story content drops of my life, I think. So Tuesday we should probably be back with Fail Betrayal as well. I skipped it that day because I was busy dying. But Wednesday I am also personally streaming Final Fantasy XIV.
Mm-hmm.
So that saga continues. You may have heard of that one. Those videos are doing very well. But like I said earlier, we've mentioned several times, if you're watching this episode, on public on YouTube, that means that later that day, that Saturday, we record What's Up. It is a stream show, so tune into that. We're playing some games and talking about all of the sweet, sweet pop culture news that has been hitting this week, because, boy, there are a lot of stuff. In case you couldn't tell by how enthused we were to talk about it in Let's Talk FGO. So, obviously, that doesn't get quite as much reach as Let's Talk, but seriously, if you want more of us, it's a great time. Come on down. And don't forget, even though it is live streamed, the whole thing stays up on our channel as a VOD, so if you can't watch it live, you can always check back in later. And yes, we do have a new AP series, which people are watching. First episode of Lucky's Wild Talents game has gone up. As usual, for a first AP in a series, it's doing fairly okay for our APs. Not quite as crazy good as Gensekai Episode 1, but we shill Gensekai a lot. But do go check it out if you have some time as well. And there's 4 hours of that, so long sesh. Sorry, cracking my bones. But I think that's all of our usual shilly-billying. So we'll do the usual outro and we'll get on out of here. So, if you like this video, be sure to give it a like on YouTube. It really helps. Helps spread that algorithm. Hit that reach. If you have any comments, you can leave in the comments section down below. You can also head to our Discord. That is a link in our video description and on our channel page. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel to get all our latest videos and streams. And even if you're already subbed, make sure to hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video or stream. It's a good time to check out. You can also join our channel memberships by clicking the join button or the link in the description as well. Get access to membership badges and emotes and help support the channel. It's a fun time. Gets you access to special messages. Special super chattos you can send during live streams as well. All kinds of fun engagement. And like I brought up earlier, you can consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to the audio versions of this podcast and some other shows for as little as $1 a month or roughly $10 a year. You can also, at higher levels, get to vote in topic polls. We do have a poll for... Actually, I should double-check the Fanservant Friday poll. I think that technically ended. So you may have to get in next month's poll, but that's at our 5 and up level. Along with early video releases, you can get access to Wanted's early, stuff like that. Yes, the poll ended just today. And as I thought, Lancer Egley won. So in a couple of weeks, we'll talk about the Queen of Serpents. And that'll be a fun one. Hope you guys like fairy stories. I like fairy stories.
I like fairy stories, too.
But yeah, so, patrons can get an impact to that. At the 10 and up level, at our gold or higher tier, you can listen to us record Let's Talk FGO live every time. Be part of Patreon chat. I can yell at you for info, and you can tell us other stuff we forgot, and lots of fun times.
Lots of fun times.
We will bellow your name randomly during the show when you drop a meme or something on me. When you fucking poleaxe me in the middle of work with a GIF. It's a fun time, so consider supporting us. And that's really everything. We'll see you guys next week for more Let's Talk FGO. Obviously, we hope to see you later for more What's Up and streams and stuff, and other video content as it comes out. Yes, I am going to die when Imaginary Scramble comes out because Van Gogh and Nemo are literally the same banner. So I'm going to have to figure out how the fuck to paste that one. But with that in mind, I think I'll see you guys later. Good night, everybody.
Good night.